Good evening and welcome to the September 26th edition of the Speedway Redevelopment Commission. With me tonight is our Vice President, Rhonda Schwartz, our Secretary, Sean Harold, Member Adam Young. Also with us is our School Representative, Eric Roseborough, our Economic Director, Todd Cook, and in the audience, our Executive Assistant, Eder Lopez. Thanks for joining us tonight. The first item on our agenda is a confirmation of a quorum, which we do have tonight, and proper notice of the meeting was given. I don't see anyone in the audience tonight, and I don't think we've had any comments come in via email. So we'll move on to the consent of the regular session meeting minutes for our August meeting. Were there any other additional corrections or items to add on that? All right, I will approve those by consent. Next is the approval of claims and expenses. Todd, were there any big number items you wanted to go over this evening?
I didn't see anything that was out of the ordinary. I know Beck Communications doesn't come up monthly, but Laura Beck did help us with putting together some talking points from our last council meeting when the hotel equities folks were on there. So that's a little bit different. I did attend a conference of the Indiana Economic Development Association. That's the IEDA expenses there. So I've been involved in that organization for several years and help out on one of their committees. So we try to support them. Any questions about any particular line items?
The gateway and roundabout improvements, is that our last payment for the design of those two spaces?
I believe it is.
Okay.
We can double check on that.
Okay. Kept it to one sheet. That's great. Awesome. Any other questions for Todd? All right. I will accept a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the claims and expenses as submitted.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the claims and expenses, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 4-0. All right. Back to Todd for our director's report.
Sure. I'll just kind of give you an overview of things that have kept me busy since our last meeting. We've continued to have some conversations with the folks at the Wilshaw Apartments about their potential office user. I don't think we're necessarily in the lead for that project, but still hopeful that they'll continue to look at us. That was a company called Performance Validation is the company that was looking at it. I just think their price point's a little bit different. I think they're looking at the waterfront office park out there, so that's third generation space compared to first generation space. So, but they're still on the list. I've talked to the manager there a couple times, so not giving up yet. The hotel project, the hotel equity folks are continuing to pursue financing on that. They've gotten a couple of new term sheets in the last couple of weeks, so we're still hopeful to get that project done there. I had a good meeting with the folks at Praxair, some of the leadership there. They've been considering an expansion. They've been working with the state. They had been working with the state when I came on board. Hopefully we're keeping that project moving along. It might be sort of a two-phased project, so there would be an initial phase that would put us in good position to get the second phase, which is much larger, as I understand it. I'm continuing to work with the state and actually the folks at at Develop Indy that kind of do the upfront tax abatement activity, and then they will, come to us when it's time for us to, we have to sign the statement of benefits form that council does. So that's been an interesting process to become familiar with. I used to sit on the other side of the table and do that years ago. So also had a good meeting with the folks from the Rolls-Royce Heritage Trust, Allison Branch, sort of a museum that's currently located in Stoutfield. It had been downtown, but they're interested in possibly coming to Speedway. They'd love to have their, they have a lot of exhibits that were actually created in the old Plant 1, Allison Plant 1, so they'd love to be, part of that redevelopment if that's an opportunity. But really a cool kind of STEM-oriented group. So that would be a nice project to land here in town. Also had a good conversation. The antique mall on Main Street's been for sale for some time. My understanding is that it's under contract, and the folks that have it under contract had called to kind of get an idea of what town's kind of looking at for Main Street. So we had a good conversation. So we'll see if that eventually closes. I've met with a number of the restaurants on Main Street because of the concerns that we've heard about parking for employees when there are events at the track or downtown that use our parking lots. And so far, O'Reilly's, Tacos and Tequila, Dawson's, Daredevil, just taking their input on those issues. And I'm not hearing as many issues as you might think. I think there are times when it's difficult, but I think we might have some workarounds there with regards to parking. Met with the folks from T&H Development that are doing the senior units out in Founders Square. We had some calls from folks that were trying to get on a waiting list and weren't having any success, but they were very, very good when we talked to T&H, and they've made it so that people can get on the waiting list there. So it'll be, they're very enthusiastic about the project, and we helped them work through some building material items that they were concerned about too. So that was a good connection there. Also, I've met with Curly from Conkle Funeral Home, and they're getting more, as a result of that meeting, they're getting more involved in some of the town activities, like they want to be sponsors of events and things like that. So connected them with Tammy to kind of help out on some of our parks things. So they were seemed like a very generous group and very interested in getting involved. I think they were involved kind of pre-COVID and just trying to kind of figure out, how they get back involved. So we've connected them. Attended the Allison Ride and Drive event last week, which was really cool. A lot of, electric vehicle technology and automated vehicle technology on display. They were having an event for an international engineering conference that was being held downtown. I think it's here. I think they told me that it was here like maybe every third year or something like that. It's in Chicago for 2 years, and then it'll be in Indy. But they had a very nice. It was a great day, and showed off a lot of their technology and other technology from around the state as well. Also, I like to attend the Indianapolis Business Journal has these power breakfasts, and I like to get the ones on commercial real estate, and then they also have one on life sciences that I'll probably attend there, and that's a good way to get an update on kind of the regional perspective on where things are headed, and it's a good opportunity for networking too. So that's kind of what I've been spending my time on since our last meeting.
Great. Any questions for Todd? Sounds like you've been busy. Next on our agenda is new business, which we have a bit of tonight. First one on the docket is the City Dogs Grocery is holding an event in October 1st, I believe. Todd, can you give us a little bit more details on that?
Sure. They'll be hosting a rescue adoption event on Saturday, October 1st from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. They'll have about 10 local rescues, all of which are 501c3s in attendance with pups and kitties for adoption. Each will have a table as well as some with a 10 by 10 canopy. All have been advised that if using a canopy, weights are required and no stakes are permitted. We'll also have a local Speedway dog trainer set up and advertising her services, as well as 2 local pet suppliers whom they sell their products for in the store, dog bandanas and local treats. We will be advertising their products. Their goal is to get as many pets adopted into their forever homes, as well as gain exposure for these local rescues. They'll be using their front courtyard area as well as the parking lot, which will be roped off securely.
All right. So we'll need to vote tonight on the approval of using the SRC parking lot for their event. Any questions on the event? I know we had talked about temporarily relocating some of the handicap spots. Has that come to fruition at all that you know of?
We're still working on that.
Okay.
Eder and I are working on it.
Okay.
Well, I think we can put up like some just A-frame signs and
Great.
maybe pick up a couple more spots.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. All right. Well, I will entertain a motion for the use of the SRC parking lot.
I'll make a motion that we approve the SRC lot for City Dogs Grocery Fallin for Rescue's adoption event on Saturday, October 1st.
And I will second that motion.
Awesome. I have a motion, a second. All those in favor of City Dogs using the SRC lot, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, passes 4-0. All right, next one is resolution number 2022-04. Resolution of the Speedway Redevelopment Commission approving a reimbursement for certain commitments with respect to the EDA related to the 1300 block project. Todd, can you give us some more details on that?
Sure. The developer Rebar had come to us. Their project, as many projects are, significantly over budget, asking if there was anything the town could do to assist them. And they are significantly over budget, nearly $1 million. There was a commitment made in there for some stamped concrete work and sidewalk work. They had agreed to that initially. They said, hey, it's kind of a, you can make the argument that that's a public project there with the sidewalk and the stamped concrete that's actually in the parking area as well. So looking at that, they had gotten a bid for that work of $54,946.21. We do have the ability to reimburse them for those expenses. We have funds available. That would require an amendment to the Economic Development Agreement, which is a document that's will be attached to this resolution and was in your packets as well, assuming that that's what we want to go forward with.
Mm-hmm. Any questions or comments?
You mentioned that this would kind of be argued that it could be it's kind of public space, and so would be helpful for the town to kind of come in and help with this. Can you just kind of like give the public a little bit of knowledge as to just the change in the economic that's causing us to have to come in and help them right now? Just a little bit about just the economic change that's happening in our world that's causing things to be out of budget and things like that right now.
Yeah, just inflation is having an impact. Material costs are significantly up from when they originally costed out the project. They have made, they did change the project from apartments to condominiums, and they bore the cost of that. I believe that was requested by the town, and I think that they have continued to, work as a good partner, and they've, those costs have gone into the current budget that they're looking at, and they've made other project enhancements along the way that have improved the project. Most recently they've pivoted on the color scheme a little bit, which I think makes for a much more pleasing look in my mind anyway. So I don't think they've ever, cheapened out on anything in order to, keep it in budget. They haven't changed materials. They've stuck right with it. So they have continued to build a quality product, and unfortunately that's, caused some of that, those cost overruns. But, I think it's the right thing to do, and I think that Rebar thinks it's the right thing to do, and they've just, come back and said, kind of, is there anything you can do to help? This was, maybe 1% of what's over budget, so I don't view it as a very large ask, and if this is the only one we get, then
We'll take it as a win.
I would support it.
Yeah. Rebar set out to deliver a good project for Main Street, and I think they've done that. The building looks great. This stamped concrete will be just like we did at the 1400 block, just to the north, near our parking lot, and we have the pattern, we have the color, we're ready to go. And, we kind of said as we do projects along Main Street that we'd continue to replace the pavers as they're a maintenance problem. So I think it's a good choice to help out on this one. So
I think the long-term goal is to do that entire side of Main Street with that stamped concrete and replacing those pavers. So I think we'll be doing it in other blocks as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Todd.
Mm-hmm.
all right. If there's no other comments, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution number 2022-04, resolution of the Speedway Redevelopment Commission approving a reimbursement for certain commitments with respect to the economic development agreement related to the 1300 block project.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the resolution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 4-0. Next item is a conflict waiver for the Motorsport District liquor license. Todd, can you give us some details on that?
Yes. Bose, McKinney, and Evans has represented the town in kind of the creation of this motorsport district. I don't have a lot of background on that. I am meeting with Alex Intermill from Bose McKinney later this week to get the background on it. But they've also been retained by Daredevil to what they're doing is, I know the write-up mentions a new restaurant, but they're not doing a new restaurant. They're needing a three-way liquor license as opposed to the two-way one that they currently have, as that will allow them to serve liquor instead of just beer and wine. And that's kind of what this document is. It's just, letting both Daredevil and the town know that they're being retained by both parties. And they don't feel like that there's any conflict there, but the lawyers like to paper things up like that. So I don't see it as being, an issue really. They set it up for me to sign it. And I mean, if you're all fine with that, we can get that done. Unless Jennifer wants to sign it.
Whatever needs to get done, as quick as it get done. Any questions or comments on that?
No.
All right. So we're
Just need
approving the
consent to do that.
waiver? Okay.
Consent for me to sign it.
Okay. I will.
All right.
I don't think we actually.
I'll
It's
get-
just by consent. So
Okay.
I think we consent. We'll approve.
Make sure your penmanship's good, though.
Okay.
Approve it by consent.
All right.
All right. The last item under new business is professional services with Brad Hurt. Todd, I know you know Brad well. Can you give us share a little bit about his experience and kind of how he'll be working with us, helping us out here at the Redevelopment Commission?
Sure. Brad has represented a number of communities over the years, Indianapolis and Carmel. He's been very active in Carmel as well, on complex real estate projects, going back to the canal, downtown, Circle Center Mall, relocating Busch Stadium to Victory Field, a number of kind of iconic projects, as well as, he lives in Crawfordsville and owns several buildings in downtown Crawfordsville that he's renovated, and he actually lives in one, so he kind of puts his money where his mouth is. He did do some work for Speedway back in the early 2000s, kind of when we were conceptualizing the Main Street redevelopment and what it could be. But, with the hotel project, I just think we need a little bit more horsepower on our side of the table, especially these next, through the end of the year at least. I can't think of anybody more qualified to, help us get the ball across the goal line. And I think that, he will be, I would say, a calming influence on this project. I know there's a lot of emotion in it, and I've sort of brought a fresh set of eyes to the project, and Brad would too. But I think that he really will have the town's best interest in looking at this and advising us on the path forward.
Great, thank you. Any questions? I think you're planning to set up a meeting maybe with Brad Hurt in the near future to kind of introduce himself. And
Yes. I want to get him kind of up to speed on the project and maybe come in at the next SRC meeting and give us an update.
Awesome.
Not really a question, Todd. I mean, at the end of the day, was able to kind of look over the resume that was provided for Brad, and I definitely agree that complex situations take teams, and we need just a little bit more understanding on our team. And so I definitely am excited that, Todd, you're bringing this individual to our team as a possibility. And at the end of the day, you really have to look at a person's history to really kind of get understanding of what they provide. Todd, that was kind of why you're here in Speedway now, your history and what you do for economic development. And so, a lot of trust gets put into that, and we hire the right people. And so we got to put some trust into the people that can come and try to help us on that side. So appreciate you bringing it to our attention, and look forward to kind of meeting Brad in a near future. So.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I will entertain a motion to approve the professional services with Brad Hurt.
I'll make a motion to approve the professional services with Brad Hurt.
And I'll second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 4-0. We do have one item of old business regarding the consent for the 1300 block Canopy MOU. I know that had been previously discussed, but I believe, Todd, this is just kind of the formalization of it.
Yes. My understanding is that this information had been shared by Grant prior to me coming on board, but I don't think that any formal approval was given by the SRC. So Jacob felt like we needed to do a vote to accept the 1300 block Plaza Canopy MOU.
All right. We have discussed this before. I know all of us are very much looking forward to the plaza coming to be at the 1300 block, a good kind of living room for Speedway's Main Street. And I think this canopy will help us with some of the events, musical events that we're hoping to have there, maybe movie nights. I don't know. We'll see. But looking forward to that. Any other comments or questions? All right. Well, I will entertain a motion to approve the 1300 block Canopy MOU.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 1300 block Canopy MOU.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor of approving the 1300 block Canopy MOU, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 4-0. All right. Any other upcoming events or announcements?
I think the next thing coming up here in Speedway will be the trunk or treat. That's put on by the park. So go to the park's Facebook page to see. I think it's been at the school in the past, but I'm not sure if that's going to be this. It will be this location, 29th
Awesome.
of October.
And I know the community day is this Thursday as well. And in Leonard Park, they have some fire trucks and police cars and other stuff for the kids to kind of come out and explore with some music too, I think, this year. So that'll be a nice event. The weather's been amazing, so it'll be good to see people out there. Hope to also see you at the City Dog grocery event on October 5th. The weather's been amazing, so bring out your dogs and come check it out. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 6:29.